True crime is such an obsession in America, and I'm no exception to that rule. I mean, Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy is such an incredible series starring Michael Chernus, Chris Sullivan. So, Michael, how did you become attached to this role? You are playing this serial killer, John Wayne Gacy.
I am. I took a meeting with our showrunner and executive producer, Patrick Macmanus. I was a little bit hesitant at first to take on a role like this, as you might imagine. But Patrick told me this idea that our show was going to have a slightly different point of view, that we'd be focusing on the victims and their families and that story, and that we wouldn't be showing any actual murder or violence on screen. And so that kind of drew me in.
That is truly what sets this show apart. Chris, obviously, fans know you from This Is Us. Toby, just a beloved character right here on NBC. Where does your character come into play in this show?
I played Bill Kunkel, the man in charge of prosecuting and putting together the case against John Wayne Gacy.
And here, like you said, Michael, this show, no violence, we don't see these brutal murders that a lot of times are shown on screen in these recreations. What about that was so important to you when you took this role?
This is a case that has been covered almost ad nauseum since John Gacy was arrested in 1978. And we felt like we didn't want to give any more attention to that aspect of the show. Also, there are still family members who are alive today of the victims, and we didn't want to cause any more harm than has already been done. Another thing is, I feel that often when, even though the violence isn't shown, audience members' imaginations kind of fill in the blanks. And there's something almost even scarier about that.
That is so true, because your minds go wild when you're watching this. And Chris, talk about the differences. Like, obviously, we see these people, we see, oh my gosh, there's so many victims, and there could have been problems with the investigation, with the missed opportunities, with what could have happened, what could have been prevented. Talk about what we're going to see in the show regarding that.
Yeah, the show really focuses on the victims' lives as they lead up to their encounter with John Wayne Gacy, and then on the flip side, after John is discovered and the case that is being put together against him. And it shows really the difficult nature that law enforcement and prosecutors have to get things right, so that that a person like this absolutely goes away forever. And how complicated that is, and how difficult and extensive a process that is, and how hard that can be for families to have to wait and to have to practice patience that they should never have to practice. So it's an interesting look at how all of this unfolds.
Michael, I want to commend you for your performance, because it is so layered, because many actors can just do the crazy out there, oh, I'm going to do this murder, I'm going to do this, but your character is so reserved, so in his head. But what process did you go through to put yourself in his shoes without doing all of those crimes that we don't see on screen?
Yeah, one of the things that struck me in doing research for this job was just how sort of normal seeming John Gacy was. Obviously, he was anything but normal, but he blended into society so well. Everybody thought of him as the friendly neighbor who, if you needed your car jumped, he'd be there to help you or shovel your driveway. And in a way, to me, he's scarier than some of the other serial killers that we know about, because he was really hiding in plain sight. And I felt like approaching him just like a human being, and not some sort of distanced monster image, made it that much more terrifying, and also made it sort of a cautionary tale that, this could happen. This could happen anywhere, and it did.
It really did, and it's so sad, but here we are telling this story without the dramatization, without the violence that is typically seen in these shows. Chris, what do you hope people take away from watching Devil in Disguise?
Well, I think one of the takeaways for me was that the era in which a lot of these cases take place, part of the reason that these killers are allowed to proliferate for as long as they do is because of a societal sense of homophobia or misogyny. There are these groups who don't get the same attention that they should, and it allows things like this to go on for much longer than they should. And I think it just involves listening. We need to be listening a lot more to what communities like this are going through and what they need, and how we can keep everybody top of mind and safe. Yeah.
Listening is so important. Terrific performances from both of you, and such an important show that just shies away from the violence but tells the story from the victim's mindset. Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy, now streaming on Peacock. Michael, Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.